Welcome to another episode, a live episode of Sellers United Summer Edition, right here on the Amazon Sellers Society YouTube channel. Let's get started. And hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to another live episode, or the first official episode of Sellers United Summer Edition. Wherever you are this summer, whether you're chilling on the beach right now or you're stuck in traffic, you can work on expanding and improving and skyrocketing your Amazon business. For everyone who's joining us live, hi, we're here to answer all of your questions live. So please make sure that you comment so that we can answer them. And if you're watching this replay, also make sure that you comment because we'll be able to answer your questions later on. We're going to try to do these videos every Friday afternoon so that we have new experts every Friday. But for today, for our first ever episode, please put your hands together and say hello to Vincenzo Toscano, CEO, founder of Ecomzy.
Hey. How you
Hi,
doing, Krista?
Vincenzo. Very
Good,
good. How are you?
good, good. It's a pleasure to be here on a Friday afternoon. So I'm gonna try to be as
Yeah.
hype as possible, so everybody stays with us.
Thank you so much, Vincenzo, for taking time. Definitely very busy now
Yeah.
because we've got Prime Day coming up next week.
Yes, I
So
know.
things are insane.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for taking the time. Before we get started, I want to introduce you
Mhm.
because you're like an exceptional human being.
Thank you. You too.
Because no, really,
Mhm.
because one thing is, I feel a lot of people, when they think about Amazon and starting to sell on Amazon, they think they have to come from a particular background. They think they have to be, either have a business degree or an MBA or something like that. And it's cool to see that a lot of people come from different backgrounds and they do understand how Amazon as a general business works. And you are officially like probably the first aeronautical astronautical engineer that I know that is
Yeah.
currently, not only you started as an Amazon seller, but you also have your own agency. So let us know how you worked on the Rolls-Royce on the engine for the A380, and now you're involved with Amazon. How did that happen?
Yeah, let's do it. So I'm gonna give you a quick background on myself. So yes, my background is in aerospace engineering. So that was my major, specialized on everything regarding the computer science on engines for airplanes. And I was working for Rolls-Royce here in the UK. So I was working for them
Two,
from
two,
around 2 years. Yeah.
a small thing,
uh,
yeah, nothing
yeah,
major.
nothing special. As you say, I was working for the A380. For those that don't know, it's the famous plane that you see in Emirates Airlines and Qatar, etc. That they have the two floors and all that. And basically, the reason why I jump into e-commerce is because I come from a family that is very business orientated, and I was having my engineering job, but at the same time I was feeling the need of having more freedom with my time, making more money, do whatever I want with my holidays and all of that. So basically from there I started researching about ways to have a side income. I remember around that time 2017, 18, that's where Amazon was becoming very hot topic as well. That's how I came across Amazon FBA. From there, I say, you know what, I'm gonna use some of my engineering salary to start doing some launches around products and all of that. And thankfully, it started to go very well. Then I started to have my own brand and everything. And from there, reached a point that the Amazon side of things was performing better than my engineering job. So I started to think, I like engineering, I like what I'm doing, but I also like the money and the freedom this can give me. So I started going to events, different webinars, seminars, etc. And I realized that there were so many amazing brands and products that they were selling on Amazon, but they didn't have a clue about how to sell on Amazon. They were doing everything wrong. They didn't know how to optimize a listing. They didn't know sometimes how to do advertisement, how to even do all the different strategies that when it comes to launching different variations for the current catalog. And I say there's definitely a hole here for a professional to come in with the expertise of having done it himself to do an agency, and that's where it came to fruition. We've been in the space for over 3 years now. And now what we specialize on is in basically helping all these brands grow on Amazon. And now we actually also do Walmart. So we do everything for them, advertising, listings, etc. and so on. Yeah.
That's absolutely great. Thank you for the breakdown. So not only did you start your own Amazon business, but you've also been, which is important because that means you've been through every single
Yeah.
detail
All the
what it takes
mistakes,
to
everything.
launch. Yeah, all of the mistakes. Well, let's call them details. Let's call them
Yeah.
lessons. Let's call them lessons.
Yes,
So
of
we're
course.
already getting some incredible questions from our viewers, from
Nice.
Raji as well as Sharif. Keep them
Yeah.
coming, but we're not going to answer them straight away. Let's
Yeah.
jump into it. So we've got three main questions because we want to make it short and sweet and full of information and knowledge. So we've got three very simple questions that we've prepared.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get started with question number one, which is a very important question. I know it's very simple, but it's
Yeah.
honestly very important. What are
Mm-hmm.
PPC ads on Amazon, Vincenzo? And why do we call them PPC? And how do they differ? Because I know a lot of people come from maybe a background of selling on their own website, or maybe Google ads, or maybe
Yeah.
Instagram, Meta, whatever. How do they differ from other forms of PPC ads as well?
Sure. So PPC, for those that might not know, stands for pay per click. So basically, the way the platform works is that you pay per click, in the terms that when somebody clicks on your advertisement, that's when Amazon, the platform itself, charge you for that placement. And the main difference, just to start with, between the main difference between Amazon and, this case, let's say Meta, which is Instagram, Facebook, when it comes to advertisement, is that you need to understand that when it comes to the purchase intent between those two platforms is completely different. When it comes to Amazon, you're trying to target people that is already on the basically purchase mindset. They're already in the intent that they want to buy something like a phone case, like a water bottle, like a dog collar, etc. And the purchase intent is very high, and that's why usually the conversion rate on Amazon, when it comes compared to Meta, is much higher, because people is already has already made the decision that they want to purchase, right? When it comes to Meta, when it's basically doing advertisement on Facebook and Instagram, you try more to interrupt a pattern, right? You try to interrupt the pattern of somebody looking for the pictures of their friends, looking around the
Yeah.
news. You try to bombard them with a certain kind of advertisement that, if you are smart, you can do it based on their
Mm,
behavior on the web or on the social media platform itself. But the conversion is much slower, lower, because these people is not looking to buy. They're just scrolling, watching
mm,
pictures,
mm,
videos. So
mm.
you need to be much clever in terms of the creatives and the way you target, and usually the return on investment is much lower. So that would be the main difference, because then when it comes to targeting and strategies, I will say there are some similarities also with the reporting, but that would be the main thing when people ask you why is the main difference, is the purchasing is much higher on Amazon compared to Meta, for sure. Yeah.
Perfectly said. I would add on top of that and say, one thing that I think marketing companies you call activations that we
Hmm.
used to see all the time, and now we don't see it anymore. So when you walk into a mall, there used to be sometimes, or a supermarket, there used to be sometimes like people trying to give you free samples or trying to
Yes.
get you to test like a new cheese or something like that. So the difference would be if it is in a supermarket, maybe, and if you're selling cheese and you're standing in front of the cheese aisle, it's so much easier because
Yeah.
people are intending, if they're passing by, they want to buy cheese. But if you do it
Hmm.
in a random place where people are just walking into a mall, let's say, to buy coffee, then it's
Yeah.
very, very difficult to get people to be interested
For sure.
in
And,
that.
and not just that, I would say another thing that is a huge difference as well, is that when it comes to Amazon, you are much more granular when it comes to targeted. You do it at the keyword level, you do it at the competitor level. On Facebook and Instagram, you do it more on the audience and the behavior level, which is not as
Mm,
granular as it can be on Amazon. So that also plays a huge role on the conversion. Yeah.
perfect. So a very simple question from Raji. How can I advertise on Amazon without a professional account?
Unfortunately, you can't. Yeah, you need to have. Unfortunately, that's the quick answer. Yeah, you need to have professional account because that is what gives you access to features such as the advertisement platform and also, for example, using the FBA program. So you need to have a professional account for that. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing to note, Raji, as well as anyone who is selling in the Middle East, because this is where things differ on Amazon. So it's not the same. That's why we always say, Vincenzo, if you're consuming content or reading blogs or anything about,
Hmm.
let's say, Amazon.com, that doesn't mean it's going to translate
Yeah.
to Amazon UK if you're selling in the
Yeah.
UK or vice versa. So one thing to note and to understand is that in the UAE, KSA, Egypt, the Middle East markets, there is nothing other than a professional account.
Hmm.
However, you can open a professional account as an individual using your ID, or
That's
you
right.
can open your account as a business using your business license. And this is where people make the mistake of thinking, oh, but the account is not, I opened my account with my
Mm.
Emirates ID or my passport
Yeah.
or something, so it's not a professional account. There
Yeah.
is no individual and there's no
Yeah.
professional, it's only professional.
Hmm.
And the account is free. So you don't pay anything monthly. You don't pay per like the individual. You don't pay per transaction. You don't. It's
Yeah.
completely for free. So
That's a
as of
good.
now,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a good clarification because individual, yes, it's the same name when it comes to the type of account, when it comes to the membership. So yeah, it's good that you point that out for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Perfect. So let's move on to question number two, Vincenzo.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that a lot of people ask. So now that
Yeah.
we've established what PPC ads are, pay-per-click ads, and the difference between doing pay-per-click ads on Amazon versus on other platforms or social media.
Yeah.
So why is PPC important to sell a product on Amazon? Isn't it enough to list the product and add keywords and then just get it to sell?
Yeah, when it comes to Amazon, PPC is a huge thing when it comes to launching because you need to understand that when you're launching a product on the Amazon platform, especially if it's a new listing altogether, which means it has no reviews, it has no history on the actual platform itself when it comes to positioning. You're starting from zero, you're starting at the back of the bus, and the only way for you to drive that traffic to then generate conversions and from those conversions sales and then scale the ladder towards page one is with advertisement, right? That will be the one factor. The other factor will be with external traffic, but for most of you, the most efficient way is to use PPC. So it's super important. PPC must always be factored within your margins when it comes to selling on Amazon, because without that, you're not gonna get the traffic that you need to basically scale the product on the platform. So that's one side. I'm also gonna mention because I know maybe on this call there could be some people that are doing more the wholesale side of things of Amazon.
Mm,
You're doing
mm,
more the wholesale side of things, which means working with big brands already like Adidas, Nike, etc. Brands that you're more buying on bulk and reselling under existing listings. Then yes, you can get away with not doing PPC because you're
mm,
sharing the
mm,
offer, which is the buy box with other sellers,
mm.
and there the game is more based on the actual pricing that you purchase the product and you put it on sale under the listing rather than PPC. So depending on which model, that's what is gonna give you the answer. But for most of you, if you do private level, PPC is a must. Yeah.
Perfection. Another question that I think we can answer also from Raji. Thank you for all of these questions. So I get a lot of people asking. So if Amazon is selling the product,
Hmm.
uh, selling here, how can I sell a product that Amazon itself selling the same product? How can I compete? So let's take it from a perspective. If you're doing private label, and then you find Amazon Basics is selling something very very
Hmm.
similar to what you intend to sell,
Yeah. So
or
the
and then let's take it from a perspective of if Amazon is a vendor and selling that product and
yeah.
you're competing for the buy box as well, because I think that's the case.
Yeah, of course. So let's start first on with the, let's say, the private label route. Like you're gonna say something very similar to Amazon. So that one for me it is gonna be already a red flag, and on a good way in the sense that you need to make sure when you do your pro research that you take all these factors in consideration. Because if you're gonna come into the market with a product that's very similar to Amazon, most likely Amazon is always gonna undercut you when it comes to pricing and you know they're going to have more leverage when it comes to advertisement and things like that. It's going to be very difficult for you unless you come with a unique selling proposition, maybe specific accessory, specific membership, specific type of branding or packaging that maybe makes really stand out from the crowd. Then yes, but if it's exactly one-to-one comparison, I will try to stay away from those type of niches, because realistically it's going to be very difficult for you to try to convey a seller over an Amazon offer when Amazon may have already more reviews and better pricing than you. So that's the private level side of things. Then when it comes to let's say the vendor side of things, you're trying to sell under a brand and Amazon is already using vendor with that listing, and you try to compete with the when that specific buy box offer. Something I would advise is try to always look back at least 3 to 6 months pricing history on that specific ASIN. There are tools such as, for example, keep a Helium 10 that you can see the history of pricing and try to see the fluctuation of pricing. And then you can see, let's say the lowest price for the last 3 months is being $10.99, right? And then you see the second highest price, which is third party sellers, is $15.99, right? And if Amazon has always been the lowest price, you can already make a very accurate, educated guess that Amazon is being dominating the offer from the very beginning, and then it's going to be very difficult for you to actually become as a wholesaler and take the buy box for them. So have a look at the price history. If you see Amazon going back and forward with the pricing, like, then yes, there is a gap in the market. Otherwise, I wouldn't advise that product either. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. You can compete with Amazon, but you need to be strategic about it, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you need big
So,
pockets.
yeah, big pockets. So, a great question from Muhammad, who's saying, and this is something that I see as well.
Hmm.
So this is the first part of his question. I'll show you the second part. So the
Yeah.
first part is there are people selling products on Amazon at very cheap price. Let's say washroom slippers for 15 dirhams, which is
Yeah.
basically less than $5.
Okay.
Okay. If I look at the FBA fee plus commission, he doesn't understand how they are making money with this. And these are well-established brands doing it. So is there a strategy behind this? Are they just not aware of how much, money they should in fees they should be paying Amazon?
Yeah, so the first thing you need to consider when it comes to this iteration is who is controlling the listing. So I'm going to give you two examples. If the offer is being controlled by vendor, by Amazon, this is a situation we see quite often, and this happens when sometimes Amazon overpurchase certain inventory from a specific brand or manufacturer, and then Amazon just basically, due to the big quantity of inventory that's not moving, they just go into liquidation mode, and they go down to a price that is basically almost break even, or just trying to get rid of that inventory so they can open space within their warehouses. So that's one option. The second option you could find as well, if it's established brands, and maybe when you see the offer is other third party brands, sometimes these are resellers that they get access to these inventory pools through liquidations, other resellers, right? So these are companies that what they do for living is actually that they get a liquidation inventory, let's say in the US, from Walmart, Target, all these big corporations. They get all this inventory and resell it to other third party, and then that's how they get access to these very low prices. And it's also just people trying to get rid of this inventory at a break even or make a very slight profit. But I wouldn't say, if those two scenarios are not the case, then most of the time the third case, which is also have done with our clients, they're trying to launch a product. So when we're trying to launch a product, even if it's established brand, we try to come in with a very aggressive pricing, because as we all know, you cannot do anymore what we call giveaways in the Amazon space is prohibited. So instead of doing that, we come in with a price that we're pretty much losing money, but we make sure that within
Yeah.
that niche, we are basically a no-brainer, we're an impulse buy. And due to having that spike on conversion, because we have the best pricing, that's going to allow us to rank organically very fast and then dominate those keywords and niche. Yeah.
That is a perfect segue to Sharif's question, who he asked us a few minutes ago. I hope he's still with us on the live. So Sharif asked, so how can new sellers get, for example, reviews in the UAE market or any market for that sake? Because it's the same struggle. Don't think that in other markets it's much easier. It's the same struggles everywhere, because obviously reviews are very important and they do help. They help conversion dramatically. So
Yeah.
could that be one of the strategies that you just talked about?
Yeah, of course. So when you do this strategy of entering with a very aggressive pricing, that's gonna automatically give you a big volume of sales, and then you can use, for example, tools to automate the review automated request from Amazon. So basically, it's the option within each orders to send an email on behalf of Amazon to request basically it for them to leave a review, and this usually give you a spike of a couple of percentage when it comes to reviews within the listings. And now this actually is a question for you, Chris, just to confirm, we have Amazon Van in UAE as well, right? Yeah.
No,
Okay, it's not available yet. So yes, in
no.
case in the US and most of the other marketplaces, we have Amazon Vine. So
Mm.
in that case, yes, in the US you don't have that available yet. But I will say yes. In the meantime, use this strategy of being having a very discounted price, because with that what you're gonna have access is to that extra amount of sales that you have the automated review request to these orders, and that's the only really options you have within Amazon terms of conditions to request reviews. Then of course there's other things you can do, which is also gray area, which is still within Amazon rules, but you can have like insert cards, like try to offer a very neutral, and it has to be very neutral. You need to be very careful by just having a very nice message about thanking
Yeah.
the customer and just asking for an honest feedback, so these small things getting combined is what overall can give you that spike on extra reviews on your listings. Yeah.
Asking is very important because
Yeah.
nobody's gonna go out of their way to leave you a
Yeah, of
review
course.
unless you ask for it. So my third question, Vincenzo, is unrelated to PPC ads. This is related to Amazon in general. So one thing, I know there's so many things, but let's choose just one thing you wish you knew about selling on Amazon prior. Now, this is based on maybe one thing as a mistake, maybe that you would like
Yeah.
to avoid, but one thing you wish you knew about Amazon before getting into the business.
Yeah, so I think I've
You
been
have to choose
mistaken.
one.
Yeah, yeah, I will. So one thing I advise you, all of you, before starting to sell on Amazon, is really try to master how to find gaps into the market, right? So, and what I mean by this, a big mistake that I did myself, and many people I know have done, is try to shine only the try to seek the shiny object in the Amazon space, like, oh, the product that does the most review, moves the most units, and then you start using all the different filters that everybody use in the market, and that's nowadays is the wrong mindset. I would say one thing that you need to focus right now, which was a mistake that I did, and some people that I know have done a lot, is try to focus on a product that is not only an Amazon product. So what I mean by this, not try to focus something that can be something outside of the platform. You can build a community, you can build a brand, you can build more interaction beside just a simple transaction. Because with this, like let's say for example in the dog space, right? A dog category is a typical category that is more than just a product. You can build an amazing community outside of the Amazon platform. Then by building this community, you build an asset, and this asset is what is going to allow you to keep skyrocketing your growth within the Amazon platform. Because what happens if you only focus on product that give you profit now, and then you don't build an asset, which an asset could be an email list, could be your social media following, it could be your presence in terms of your website and all of that, then you can use that asset to keep launching more products, and then it's going to be much easier than the first product. So focus on a category where you can do that kind of a community asset. Because if you just focus on the typical, yeah, let's just flip a phone cases or a cup or things like that, that's the number one thing I wish I knew, that it is not a long-term success on Amazon. Because now it's all about building a brand, which is the asset that most people seek, and even investors to buy from you in the long term. So yeah.
That's because it is a real brand. So, it is a real business. Sorry. So yeah,
Yeah.
you can no longer. I always say the days of buying a product from Alibaba for $2 and selling it for $30, $40 on Amazon,
Yeah.
that's no longer there, right? Yeah.
For sure.
So my last question, and we are getting so many great questions, guys. Keep them coming. So from Sailani, if
Hmm.
someone has patented a product, can I sell the same with a different trademark? Even though those two
Uh,
things are not related to each other, but yeah.
Yeah. So let's
Ailani, thank you
say,
for this question. Yeah,
yeah. So let's say you want to sell a product that has a patent, and let's say you want to sell it under your own trademark, different brand than the original
let's say.
brand that
Yeah,
did the patent. The only way you can do this is you need to have a written authorization from whoever has the patent, which is in this case the supplier that gives you grant authorization to then be able to sell it under a different trademark. Because if you don't have that and you start selling this product on Amazon, then this patent owner can easily just do a patent infringement or trademark infringement on Amazon. They can take your listing down. So it's very important that you have proven documentation that yes, you've been authorized. And if that's the case, yes, but yeah, you need to make sure that the patent owner gives you that, which I know most of the time they are not willing. So you need to negotiate that, So yeah,
perfect. Thank you so much, Vincenzo, for your time and your insights. Anyone who wants to reach out to you, they will find all of your information in the description box of this video, or simply which website? ecomzy.com, right?
yeah, of course, yeah. You
Yeah,
can reach out
very,
to me
very easy.
on the website, and happy to help you on whatever you need. Yeah. Mhm.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Vincenzo. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this summer and every single Friday for the summer edition. Thank you. Bye.
It's a
Bye,
pleasure.
Vincenzo.
Thank you. Bye bye. See ya.